Y'all, building something meaningful is hard. And I don't even have a clean bow to put on that for you. I'm not going to wrap it up neatly. I just want to acknowledge it because I think we need somebody to say it straight up sometimes. No chaser. Building is hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. A mom, wife, ambitious girly, it's hard. And it comes with baggage like doubt, guilt, loneliness, and responsibility. And as someone who never really asked for all this responsibility, is it okay if I spill my own tea? All right. So I have been putting this retreat together now for a while, and every iteration of it is always a little bit different, right? Every time something changes, I've had to let go of something. People I expected to be there who weren't. And I want to be clear, like I'm not saying that in like a I carry bad feelings about those people kind of way. Like sometimes, girl, when you go after your purpose, and I think that's what I want you to get from this. The people who started with you may not be there to finish with you. Judas didn't finish with Jesus. And when Jesus was at Gethsemane, his people were outside asleep. There are moments in your growth journey where it is just going to be you. And in that moment, you are going to get into the whole death spiral of thoughts. Okay. A lot of doubt, a lot of negativity, and a lot of things that just don't feel good. Okay. And I know I've had many days like that, right? Where I'm like, wait, am I even the one to do this? Right? Like, Lord, take this cup. I'm okay. Hard pass. But yet I'm still in the midst of things, right? And it can even be right down to let someone else do this thing, let someone else run this business, let someone else plan this retreat. But don't worry, we're still going on the retreat. Hey, I'm talking about Costa Rica is still happening. www.renewconnectforstore.com. Grab the last single, girl. Okay. But while you search that up, let me take us back to my homie Moses because he understood that I don't want this responsibility. He got that. And I'm here for it though, right? He was here for it and trying his best to work it out. But he definitely pulled up like, God, are you sure? Me with my stutter, like me though? And I think we've all had those kind of moments, right? But he also understood the assignment wasn't easy. And I think that's why all of that came up, all that doubt, all the I'm not good enoughness quickly rose to the occasion with him because building is hard. And when people don't show up for you in the middle of that, that's hard too. And I don't think we say this enough. Things don't always go as planned, facts, or as we want, facts, or as we believe they could. And that's where those emotions show up, the emotions like doubt, frustration, or the emotions that even have no sound. Okay. And I know my church girlies, y'all know this. This is that groaning in the spirit, that deep within you, or just the paralysis of quiet. That's where I've been living while building this retreat in this inaudible sounds kind of place. And I figure if I'm feeling that at this stage of building, somebody else listening is too. And I want to acknowledge that for you. I want to tell you, like, girl, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about what to do because I don't want you to quit before you see the promise. All right. So are you ready? I talk a lot about our mindset or what we set our minds on, our thoughts, what we think, right? Because our thoughts are just so valuable and powerful. We think ourselves out of things, but we also experience ourselves out of things. The feelings that come up as you do things outside of your norm can make you feel your way out of purpose, right? So if you don't know what to do in that emotional space, both in your heart or in your body, that's where we can run into some issues, right? And the mind and body speak. Like I want you to think about like when you're doing a presentation and how nervous you feel, like the butterflies you feel in your stomach or the dizziness that might come up while you're waiting for like test results or something, right? Everything is communicating that we're in trouble. Now, as visionaries, we can't always tell everyone that we feel those things, right? Or what we really think, because not everybody can really handle it. Not everyone can tolerate that, right? You can't always bring it to your team, your people, your family. They can't always handle the versions of you. You kind of have to be discerning about that. But then where do you go? Where does all of that go? Where do you put it? And for me, I think some days I just kind of wish it away. And I wish I didn't have to deal with it at all. And I kind of wish I was just a regular person, just kind of doing basic things. And maybe you can relate to that too, right? And I feel like I can hear you nodding along with me. But I think as most of us with these big ambitions, it's kind of hard to turn that off. Like our mind just won't really allow that, right? Some days I'm like, why is your mind like this? Why do I keep seeing the bigger possibility and then want to go after it? Because I just want to be basic. God, can I be basic today? I don't want to see the burning bush. I don't want to see nothing. But I know who I am, just like you know who you are. I'm not the person who gets the vision, sits down, and chills. I've never really been that type of person. And I honestly never want to live from that place because I think that's a place of regret when you have all these things and like you just never really go after any of it, right? I think come back again to my Jesus girlies, right? It's like at the end of the day, we want God to look back and say, well done, my good and faithful servant, right? So, the question I'm sitting with in this space of do I really want that responsibility? And maybe you wrestle with this sometimes too, is how do you keep building when the feelings, the experience of responsibility is trying to talk you out of it? How do you keep going when you're not sure you're even the one qualified to carry it or to be in that position? How do you not run with the counter argument that maybe I'm not the one and this isn't for me? And I know y'all are forever arguing with yourself because I hear it all the time. All right. That inner mean girl is real. That critical self is real. And Moses had an inner mean girl too, or inner mean dude. He had no idea the scope of what he was being asked to do. But at the same time, he did. He knew it was a big ask. He didn't have instructions, but he knew. And that's why he questioned, am I the one? But he still did something. His frayed self started moving. The fact that he questioned if I'm qualified tells me he not just had the thoughts, but the experience of the emotion of uncertainty. That's something that some of us as leaders can relate to, whether you had to, lead a business, your team, family, relationship. Uncertainty is often the experience trying to disqualify you or your opportunity. And here's what I want to say to those of you that's connecting with this, my experienced leaders, my unexpected leaders, the ones who carry the weight, the ones who don't even know where to take all the things that they feel, all the things that they think. You don't even know where to put it. I want to talk to you. That tug of war that you're in, the one between what you know you're called to and what the circumstances are currently showing you that don't seem to line up, that is not a sign that you're doing something wrong or that you need to quit, right? Like, really, it is just hard sometimes. And we may not say it out loud enough, or going back to our dynamic and just, where everybody is and things, where what your positionality is, you might just not be able to say it. But sis, say it. It is just hard sometimes. It is hard. And I hope that you're in a space that you could say that out loud, even if it's just for the atmosphere to hear you, right? Because we are barely into this year, and it already feels like the longest year that we've ever had, right? The longest year we've ever lived. The economy is doing what it's doing. Things are moving faster than we can keep up with. There are Lego movies about war, and somehow we're still expected to, show up, produce, lead, act like everything is all good, not fall apart. And maybe that's the case for some of us, but I know for a lot of us, and I see it because I talk to y'all all the time, the burnout is already here and we don't know where to put it. And that's the thing that we don't always prepare people for as we are growing and as we're building, as we're executing all these fabulous goals, what to do with what you will have to carry as you build and experience growth. Right? From time to time, like people will ask me, usually some ladies that I work with closely, how do I balance it all? What do I do when it gets hard? And honestly, girl, I retreat. I think I may have a slight advantage here, not just because I'm a therapist, because I'm still a human. I feel these things, not just because I coach y'all. I still sometimes have to coach myself, right? But I think one of the advantages that I have is that I really grew up watching my mom just like get up and go. Like homegirl would announce she's catching a flight to Trinidad, and tomorrow she's gone for like a week. No big explanation, just drop me off at JFK. But I think that normalized something in me very early, that getting away is not abandoning your responsibilities. It's maintenance for the person who has to care for it. But I know that that's not everybody's reality. So if you can't just up and go, then you're really looking at what are you willing to put down? That was actually the lesson at church Easter weekend, and it's been popping up in everything that I'm doing, including this conversation. What are you willing to put down to fully experience Jesus in that case, right? And this was Pastor Easley, and he gave a great example of how, despite this economy, people were able to afford Jay-Z tickets that start at an astronomical price. They set aside all their concerns about that and made it happen. Okay, so if we're able to put down all those financial worries to make that happen, what are you willing to put down for your experience? Maybe it's the expectation that you have to be everything to everybody. When you've been raised under that kind of belief, you miss the other avenues of possibilities. Like maybe your kids are old enough to be trusted with someone else for a few days. Maybe you haven't thought about what resources are actually in your community that are available to you that can make those sorts of things possible because you've been holding on to this narrative that it has to be you, or a narrative that's just served in a way that was very limiting. It definitely didn't serve you. See, friend, Grace is saying, I am worth doing much more. I am worth doing the math to figure out how to put my narrative down. Me personally, I know I'm a better person when I can go after the things that bring me joy, the things that remind me of who I am. And the things that remind me of who I am isn't always directly connected to my purpose. Like I always say that, like I spend a lot of time in the space of building, healing, supporting, and there's always little joys in that. Even the days I don't want to show up to work, I'm talking to people. I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I was able to have that conversation today. Like, man, that really like shifted the day for me. But it's still different than the things that bring me like this absolute free, no strings attached, just like I don't even know the word kind of joy. The things that let me just not be responsible for a second. And sometimes I have to fight to do that because the responsibility is the narrative that leads. I need to do this purpose work. I have to show up here. Like, I can't take the day off, all of those things, right? So if I were to bring it back, if I come back to how do I balance what I do, it's really choosing to create space for who Amanda is. And sometimes that means putting down or sharing the responsibilities or finding the resources to do that or even accepting less so that I can find the more that I need. Okay. Um, then there's also this. There's also trusting that you don't have to know how. Like when I set my mind to something, I just decide this is what I want, this is what's going to happen. And I don't always know how, but I decide. And even as I'm conjuring this out my mouth right now to tell you, it's also checking me right now because I have no idea how this retreat is going to come together. And I never do, year after year. Yeah, I'm always left in awe, right? It's sometimes hard to trust the unknown, but it's beautiful to see things come together when you do. I remember, but back when we are coming off of COVID was our first retreat to Cancun, and I missed my flight while at the airport waiting for the pilot to arrive. Somehow they got on the plane and I didn't. And they, do you know how my heart sank? I was like, but ma'am, I'm supposed to get to Mexico for my event. Okay. She was like, the door's closed. Right, I checked the customer service at the airport. They told me there was no other direct flights. We are sure if we can get you there. And I happened to just call back. I called and a different agent, I got an agent, and she was like, oh, there's a direct flight in the morning. Boom, let's do that. Right. And I got there in time to greet my guests. Didn't know how. I just decided that's where I needed to be. Now, Moses didn't know how it was going to come together either. But he eventually was in agreement with God and he started moving. Right. So it's knowing what needs to shift inside of you. And sometimes it is a belief. It's understanding the resources around you. Moses had Aaron, right? When I need to run, I have Black Girls Run. When I need to feel grounded, I might have friends, family, right? I might holler at my homegirl, Kat, when I got like a business dilemma and I'm trying to figure out things, my practice, right? When we're trying to figure out where we're going to speak at next, girl. And we kind of share that weight. Right? Sometimes you need those things, those people to stand in the gap, and that matters. And I think what matters even more is believing in what was put in your heart, even if you don't know how. Seeing the value of all of the above and creating space for you to exist. That's important. So that's how I keep my peace, y'all. Even if some days I got to go look for peace. making sure that I'm in the context of what's important to me and in the context of belief and knowing what's in my life that I can use. That's what keeps me doing the work, right? And you don't always have to know how. You just have to decide. This is why I created this whole retreat space, not just to facilitate it for you because I needed to. I am right there in it with y'all. Every speaker we bring participates fully in the experience, right? And Bali had these moments in the workshops or just like chilling poolside or settling in at night. Like all of those moments moved me too, because I needed that space. And it was just so valuable to do it in the context of other women who felt the same. It was just so just open and willing, curious because they decided. They didn't know the how. They didn't all know what they were getting into. I think all but one person had experienced the retreat before. So everyone else, it was new, but they were here. They decided. You know, this whole conversation we had just now, you just listening to me, this is what it's like. This is actually a taste of what happens in the room, right? The honesty of what it is for us, how hard it is for us, the permission to say out loud what it is, the reminder that you don't have to carry it all alone, being able to be in space to hear other people, to witness that, right? The idea that you have a responsibility to figure out how to create space for yourself and that you acted on that. That is the experience. And I really do believe that you should get to go somewhere where you can put all the names people call you down: mom, boss, director, friend, wife, daughter. So the only thing that you have to pick up is you. And so that feels lighter and easier to carry. So there's more space to look at the you that you're becoming, the you that you need. Okay. And maybe that somewhere is Costa Rica. We got 4 more spots left. All you need is that initial deposit. It's like $300 now, which I dropped so you can see your possibility. Take it. Go to renewconnectrestore.com right now. I'll definitely put the link in the description. And if you need to figure this out, if you need to figure out how to make it work for you, message me, email me. That's literally what I'm here for, to help you find that possibility. You should be there. I do think you need that space. Okay. And if you've got someone else, share this with her because she needs that space too. And she probably just hasn't said it yet.